Dove currently stars as Mal in Descendants, but there's more to the star than you can ever imagine. From plastic surgeries, embarrassing moments, heartbreaks, depression, disorders, and her weird taste of snacks. Stick around for the most shocking revelations and grab a box of tissues while at it. Number 10. She has numerous tattoos. Dove got her first tattoo, a cute Capricorn sign, on her right thigh when she was 14, which was totally illegal. She has 2 on her wrists, which she got for herself. She has an X on her pinky finger knuckle, which matches Kiersey Clemens' O. They got the X and O while they were in Vegas. And what happened in Vegas will remain on their bodies for the rest of their lives. She has 1 on her leg, which matches her sister's and her mother's. It's written star material, but in French. And the tattoo reminds them of a story the mom used to read them. There's also a sun tattoo on her finger, which matches her boyfriend's son on his leg. And a snake on one of her fingers, which she got recently. We don't know what the snake means yet. She doesn't regret any of her tattoos, but there's one she has courtesy of her ex-boyfriend, a Gemini sign on her left thigh. In total, those are 8 tattoos. Number 9. She has lost very significant people in her life. Dove is still trying to come to terms with the loss of Cameron Boyce, even though it's been weeks since he left us. She was one of the last close friends to send her tribute in a very emotional post on her Instagram. The sad part is that it's not the first loss she's had to deal with. At the age of 15, right before landing her first TV role on Showtime's hit show Shameless, she lost her father to suicide. Philip Allen Hosterman was the founder of Kandahar Trading Company, a fashion and jewelry brand. She doesn't like to talk much about her dad, but Dove always said that he was a kind and sensitive man. After his death, Dove learned that her dad was closeted and everything started to add up. In one of her tributes to her dad, she said, "I love you eternally. Can't wait to see you again. Maybe in our next life as we find each other over and over. Forever your best friend and your little girl." Dove hopes to write a movie about him one day, and I can bet that it will be a masterpiece. Remember the YouTube star Christina Grimmie, who was shot and killed by a crazed fan? We don't want to go into details of what also happened just 2 days later. The YouTube sensation was very close to Dove, and her death deeply affected her. Number 8, the name Dove. Celebrities like Whoopi Goldberg, Gigi Hadid, and Portia de Rossi, among many others, changed their names for different reasons, and for some of them, we may never know why they changed their names. Luckily, Dove opened up about why she changed hers. The name Dove is undoubtedly such a beautiful name, but it wasn't Dove's name at birth. She was born Chloe Celeste Hosterman. Of course, fans realized the change of name along the way because she's a child star from Disney. One of her fans straight out asked her on social media why she changed the name, and Dove responded. Her dad always called her Dove when he was alive, and she changed the name to honor him. Dove isn't just a stage name for her, it's the name on all her legal documents. It's so heartwarming that she has changed the name to honor her dad. Now every time someone calls her, it feels like her dad calling. 7. Struggle with self-image. When you look at Dove for the first time, you'd think, wow, she's so gorgeous. It would never cross your mind that at one point in her life she struggled with self-image. Well, Dove is now a star and more comfortable in her skin, but it hasn't always been the case. There are times she felt low about her appearance and wore a lot of makeup to school. As she grew older, Dove realized that there's more to life than looking good. It's not that she doesn't rock on red carpets, she definitely does, and she always looks great. Dove always says that she was very weird when she was younger. She didn't even fit into the weird crowd. Most of the time she wore costumes to school, and once asked her mom to cut her hair so that her classmates would think she was male. She barely had any friends, but she finally found joy in her solitude and learned to accept herself for who she was. 6. She had the most difficult school experience. In one of her interviews, Dove opened up about the horrific experience she had in school. I'm not sure whether to attribute the experience to her solitude and weirdness, but regardless, Dove didn't deserve such a terrible high school experience. She went through the most devastating moments, some of which we imagine only happens in movies. Some girls always tried to trip her as she walked down the hallways, and another lot locked her in her janitor's closet. It goes on. A girl in her school purposely spilled a drink on a dress Dove had spent her resources and time crafting, and that wasn't all she endured. The worst scenario was when a bunch of girls carried razors to a school trip to shave their legs and threw them at Dove. What they said to her cut deep inside. The girls shamelessly told her to kill herself. Wow, not cool. Why would anyone do such a thing to a fellow student? I sure hope they regret everything they did to her and burn with envy because of how successful she is just a few years after leaving high school. Of course, those experiences scarred her for many months, probably years, but we are proud that she was able to move on. 5. Anxiety and depression. By now, you've probably realized that Dove openly talks about her struggles, and it's because it helps with the healing process. Plus, she could also help someone else go through the same struggles. She admitted on her Twitter handle that she suffered from anxiety, and the disorder made her more disciplined in her thoughts. Dove battled with the disorder by soldiering on instead of resorting to medications. She also suffered from depression, especially after her dad died, and she realized the only way she'd beat the depression was to be someone else. That's where acting comes in. The stars must have aligned in her direction because it didn't take long for Dove to land a role in Disney's Liv and Maddie. We're more than glad she landed that role because the show wouldn't have been the same without her. You know those roles that are just meant for the actors? Since then, she's landed more roles, and the future looks very promising if you ask me. At some point, she also suffered from an eating disorder, but the star says that all is behind her. 4. Plastic surgeries. It may not be very evident, but if you look closely and compare Dove's previous pictures, you will notice the transformation over the years. And the transformation isn't just about the hair, there's a lot more. From her lips, which now look as full as Kylie Jenner's, to her nose, which is now pinched. Her eyebrows have really grown in the last 2 years, and even the dimples, which she didn't have while growing up. I know the process has been gradual, and it's something many fans have never noticed. 3. Her favorites. Dove's favorite dish is rice, and she also loves unusual snacks from time to time. For instance, she's a sucker for bagels with cream cheese and rainbow sprinkles on top, brownies dipped in ranch, and jam on her burgers. Dove's favorite celebrity, who is also her celebrity crush, is her boyfriend, Thomas Dougherty. Dove loves to travel, and if she had more time, she'd tour the entire universe. When she was younger, they spent a lot of time in France and India, and she enjoyed it. She may be a bit busy at the moment, but whenever she can, Dove books a plane to get away from all the hustle. Her favorite colors are white and baby blue, and her favorite season is winter. 80% of what she listens to in her car is rap or punk. The other 20% is musical theater songs. 2. She's a Riverdale fan. Dove is already successful as an actress, but celebrities also have dream roles, like millions of people around the globe. Dove is a fan of Riverdale, and she wouldn't mind a role on the show. Initially, there were plans to include Sabrina in the cast of Riverdale, and Dove said that she'd totally love to play the character. I'm not sure why Sabrina was never added, but Dove would have fit right into the cast. The closest fans have hoped for with Riverdale is a crossover with the chilling adventures of Sabrina, but even that one seems highly unlikely. Before we reveal our top pick, here are other truths about Dove Cameron I bet you didn't know. Her eyes turn yellow in the sun. She only ever drinks out of mugs, even water. Cups freak her out. Well, at least when she was younger. Her Starbucks order is a venti iced coffee, light ice with soy milk. She made herself memorize how to spell anti-disestablishmentarianism in under 3 seconds when she was 6 years old because her sister told her it was the longest word she knew. And number 1, most embarrassing moment. Dove doesn't have just one awkward moment, so we've just gathered the hilarious ones. When she was auditioning for Cloud9 with Luke Benward, the two had to kiss. It was already awkward because they didn't know each other. Someone asked her if she needed gum. She said yes. Then the person said they were joking. Yikes! In another instance, she was participating in a play, and there was a scene where everyone was supposed to be still while the lead actress sang. Dove didn't just move or fall, as it usually happens. She danced on stage while everyone else was still. Hilarious. Sadly, the footage never made it to the internet. At one time when they were shooting Descendants in a secluded area in the woods, it was just Dove and around 10 people from the crew, and the scene was very intimate. Apparently, the director Kenny had invited the other cast members, and they decided to scare Dove. All of a sudden, she heard something approaching, and Dove fell to the ground thinking it was some wild animal, only to realize that it was her castmates. The last one. When she was 9, Dove wanted to give a thoughtful gift to her crush. She was into sewing, but didn't know how to make male outfits, so she made a tool kit for him. The crush loved the kit, but after an awkward silence, he said he didn't like her anymore. Ouch, that must have really hurt.